Freaking out, man.
You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men with power want? More power.
My name is luca-zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a drill. If you're listening to this broadcasting, you are the resistance.
All systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom.
We're not afraid.
Here we go, guys and girls. Another Sunday, another show. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on K-Talks 1340 AM and also 104.1 FM. Last Sunday was an interesting show. This beautiful lady, by the way, she's very smart. I don't want to start to say beautiful because people think, oh, wow, you're focusing on that. But no, it's funny when you have a lady that she's very interesting. Graduated at West Point. She's a former Army paratrooper. And she could look like an actress, and she's also very controversial in her beliefs. And as I said, I share some of, let's say, questions. I may not have all the answer like she thinks she has, but I have for sure a lot of questions that I still don't have the answer from the official science. But regardless, what I found interesting last Sunday interview, it wasn't about just the topic, This topic of the flat earth, we know that is very controversial. And as I said, I just have an open mind on everything. And there are some things from the official science that I still have some questions. But regardless, what I believe is not the point. The point was very interesting to see the great reaction that listeners and also people on Facebook were putting out. At the end of the day, if somebody believes that the earth is flat, it's a business. I don't care. It doesn't change my mind. Doesn't change my property tax bill that I would like to talk more about today. I wish people get really mad at things like, they're not just personal beliefs, but they're like things that change in our life, changing somebody else's rights. Like, for example, trafficking of sex children, sex trafficking of children and human trafficking. And of course, government out of control spending and putting us completely living under the bridges. Property taxes in Arizona, at least where I live, one of my properties went up 30% in 1 year. And always keep going up. This is something that people can say, we need taxes to live in a civil society. Guess what? We're not going to live in a civil society. If we keep growing this type of rates with the taxes, we're going to live on the streets. That's the reality. So anyway, beside that, we'll talk a little bit about taxes after this. The topic today I want to bring you, I think it's something that we should get mad. This is not just about some personal beliefs or even things that you may prove. I don't care. At the end of the day, it doesn't change my life. But what we're talking today is something that is changing and already has changed the life of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of innocent people. People that maybe they never had the chance to see their future, or maybe they will live never like a normal person anymore. People that maybe never going to be alive anymore. And we heard about these pedophile sex rings around the country. But I believe there is more than just something inside the country. There is a way that they import this sort of human resources, if I want to put it this way. There is a big reason why they want to keep these open borders. It is not just the drugs. It is not just the cheap labor. It is not just the cheap votes that, political parties they will share. I believe there is something much more sinister. I have a gentleman that I have a lot of respect. I met him a few years ago in Kingman. I went to his place. He is kind of a very interesting guy. He has this passion for looking at the sky, and he has an incredible YouTube channel where he can look at the moon and a lot of great things. I really enjoy his YouTube channel. But today, I found him, a few weeks ago in a different type of environment. He's no more looking at the sky. Now he's looking down south the borders in Arizona, one of the most dangerous parts of our United States of America. I believe it because I was there. I've been there in 2005. That's not almost anymore America. You are in the hands of yourself, of your fellow brothers that they are with you. I mean, there is no law. There is no law, and the government, unfortunately, cannot enforce the laws because they don't want to enforce the laws, because they've been told that they don't give them the resources, and also there is not a political will. But, I want to ask him more what's going on, especially when it comes down now to this incredible video reportage that he did that there is a lot of evidence that is bringing facts that whatever is happening down there is something so sinister that could be really connected to human trafficking and also trafficking of children for very sinister purposes. Paul-Flores, broadcasting from somewhere in the southern Arizona. Paul, are you there?
I'm here, Luca. How you doing?
I'm okay, man. How you doing? First of all, tell me exactly, if you can, you don't want to be too much details. I understand when you do this type of situation, sometimes discretion is important. But which part of the southern border are you located right now?
Right now I'm down in Lukeville, Arizona. We're between Yuma and Douglas, I believe. And out of all the places I've been on the border, this has to be ground zero for the human trafficking from all the evidence that I'm filming down here.
I have a question. Last time we met, we were at your place. You have a nice house in Little Kingman, and you have a beautiful room with this huge, beautiful, for an amateurish guy, you have a great setup, observatory looking at this moon. And now out of the blue, I see your videos all dressed up like, you're really on the field. I mean, you can't just fake it. This stuff, you dress like Rambo because you live in a freaking territory that it's harsh. This is desert, and it's you need to be comfortable. So, what happened to you? When did you start to get involved into this? It's kind of amazing.
Well, I was always doing the live broadcasting and the news, and when this story hit, I'm covering a group called Veterans on Patrol based out of Tucson, Arizona. Mm-hmm. They uncovered what they believed to be a child sex trafficking camp on Cemex property down in Tucson. Now, they had Craig Sawyer and a few other experts come in, and they all said that it was a child sex trafficking camp. There was a rape tree.
Oh, my gosh.
And a couple of days later, they all flipped their story.
Wow.
So a big conspiracy started on that. And for the last 6 months, we have been backtracking these routes from Tucson, Arizona, all the way down to the border, uncovering the drug routes, the human trafficking routes, the child routes, and we've actually accomplished quite a bit because we kind of work as a team. Even though I'm covering them, our investigations kind of go hand in hand.
Well, I know one thing, I've been following you, watching some of your videos. I mean, this takes not just like a weekend effort. You've been doing that for a while. And, I don't know exactly now your situation, but this is like a full-time job. I mean, seriously. I mean, besides that, it's not a paid position because I don't think you're getting paid by the government for this. But the same way, also, it takes time, it takes energy, and also a lot of risk. Because when you start to put a spotlight on such very lucrative activities, they are evil and they're also very lucrative. And I tell you, in the last few years, I went down to this rabbit hole. And I've started to realize that there are things that the average person doesn't want even to talk about it because they're so gruesome. I mean, human trafficking is not just for your sex toy. That would be terrible enough. That's disgusting and criminal and bad. Think about what could happen to any child out there. I don't care where you're from. But also for other more sinister purposes. There is a lot of underground market for organs, transplant. I mean, many people can afford anything, any type of money to save maybe their child or maybe to have a new organ in their heart or in their body. I mean, there is such a sinister situation. So there is so much I'm realizing, and don't even forget the last one that I still have a hard time to believe. There is a real new trend for a new type of cuisine, as in French they say, human meat. And they love, by the way, this is according to the Cannibal Club in Los Angeles, they love always to serve fresh and healthy young meat. So I always wonder where they're coming from since, most of the people that die at the hospital, they're all drugged up and they're old, most of them. Where do they get this fresh and healthy young meat? So just my conspiracy. But let me ask you what you've been learning the last, few months and what really you think is going on according to your research down in the southern border of Arizona.
Well, down here where I'm at, we've been trying to track the child trafficking, and we've actually been able to place it into a certain neighborhood up in Marana, Arizona. And this is from a route coming all the way from the border. What we're doing here on the border, though, is we're trying to intercept before they even get an opportunity to drag the kids all the way through the desert for 100 some odd miles. A lot of these kids die. And I found out from a BP agent, which I just released the video on that. They were talking very candidly. In this area of Lukeville, they have 350 agents. They need 2,500 to be even somewhat effective.
Wow.
They have no resources down here. And they're basically crying out for help. I've never quite heard agents talk like that to a news person before. But they were very candid, like I said, and they told me, based upon my investigation that I was talking to them about with the kid trafficking, is they informed me that a lot of these kids that come over here, once they claim asylum, they get sponsors. And these sponsors over here in the United States, where the kids go to, are not always legitimate. A lot of times these sponsors end up being sex offenders.
Wow.
So the kids end up in the hands of sex offenders over here. These women and children, they're raped all along the trail.
Gee.
We've been finding these homemade condoms. They're basically black shopping bags that they wrap around with and then kind of tape it up. We've discovered a rape tree out here. I'm not going to give the location for that. I mean, there's just so much going on out here. You literally have semi-trucks pulling up to the fence line here in Lukeville, where the Mexico 2 freeway runs 50 feet to 100 feet away from the international border, which is a 4-foot wall that it's not even a wall, it's a fence. You can walk under it, you can hop right over it. And they're dropping them off by the truckloads.
Wow.
The group that I'm covering just intercepted 94 Guatemalans the other day. Over half were children from the ages of 2 to 12. A lot of the children were severely dehydrated. Their eyes were sunken in. They were very sick. I don't believe that there was a couple kids that I don't believe would have made the journey to the next spot, about 27 miles through the desert. And from what Border Patrol is saying is Mexico is ran by the cartels. We all know this, but they just want these people gone. They get them to the border and they just push them right across. They don't really care about them. The group that we intercepted, only about half of them had water bottles, and they were little 12-ounce bottles, and they had maybe 2 or 3 sips of water in them each. And they had been sitting in a truck for 6 days before they got to the border. So it's pretty brutal down here, and we're starting to learn a whole bunch of stuff, and it all connects all the way up through Marana to Tucson, Silver Bell, Osarco Mine. There's a few different places that aid and abet these people and help them out. And the way that the group looks at it is, they all understand that these people are coming here for a better life for them and their children, but you got to kind of do it the right way. And at the same time, these people are dragging the kids through the desert, and a lot of these kids die. A lot of these kids are raped along the trails. So that's what they're really trying to stop out here.
Yeah, and I agree with you. This is, I'm not an activist. I wasn't born in some southern part of Alabama. With all the respect of Alabama, that they're great people. I was born in Rome. My accent is still there. But I truly believe that every nation, if it wants to be considered a sovereign nation, must control their borders. Like, I have a house, you have a house. If you have an apartment, doesn't matter. You have a door. You don't want to say, okay, everybody's free for all. Come here, and while I'm sleeping, sir, help yourself. The beer is in the fridge. I mean, give me a break, okay? Right. There are 7 billion people out there. They all would, I don't say all, but many of us, because I was one of them, I wanted to come to America. But guess what? I didn't jump any fence, and I put myself in the line, and I tried to follow every rule and every law on the book. That's the bottom line. And that's the way, because as I said, there are 7 billion or more people who would like to come to this country. If we have no more rule of law, if we have no borders, that would be a complete implosion, politically, economically, and also about freedom. Because the problem, you got so many people that cannot absorb our, way of life, and more important, the system that we are living here. And they start to say, okay, they still are in some sort of a socialistic country, like they left and escape. They will keep voting the same garbage they left, and we will transform this republic in the new Venezuela. That's what really scares the hell out of me. But my point is now, I feel sorry, definitely, but the same way, there are more people coming. You heard about the 4,000 caravan that they have the audacity to say, we're going to come there and jump the fence and do whatever we want because after all, we have the right to come to America. Did you hear about this 4,000 Guatemalan, wherever they're from, caravan on the way? Any news?
Oh, yes. I believe they're Hondurans.
Hondurans, yes.
I believe it was originally Hondurans. I believe it's a whole mixture now. I'm not sure where they're going to enter. We just kind of have to follow the crowd, but I think they might be coming in through Texas, or they're going to branch off and they're going to try to hit a couple different areas of the border.
Because Mexico pretty much did not stop him. I mean, that's insane. If you cross in the Mexican border, as an American, wherever you're from, doesn't care if you're Canadian, whatever, or even if you're Guatemalan, normally, most of the time, they beat you up and they put you in jail. They don't even have all these ACLU attorneys or, special treatment. They're really tough on immigration laws in Mexico. I'm sure you're aware of that. Try to trespass in Mexico and let the local police or whatever, the BPA in Mexico get you. It's not easy. It's not a fun place. So my point is why this Mexican government, they were so, lenient to let this huge group, for me it's an army, it's an invading army, 4,000 people, it's like a division almost. Why did they let them come through, without paperwork, through Mexican territory? What do you think about that? What is their goal?
Well, I think that comes back to the point that BP agent made to me, that Mexico's ran by the cartels. And when you think about it money-wise, it's $8,000 for your passage to come from Guatemala through Mexico to the United States border.
Wow.
So, you got to really think about that. A lot of these people have probably paid, and it's a political statement for sure, the way that they're marching towards the border. But to get through Mexico, I'm sure that they paid just like everybody else pays.
Yeah. And also, what is scary is not just the $8,000 that they pay when they leave. The real merchandise, the real profit, in my humble opinion, and maybe you may, know even more since you're there, is the same people that they are there as these migrants, whatever they want to call them, these people that they're supposed to come. The end is not the $8,000 they get. When they start to get the body parts, a liver, how much costs a liver on the black market for a liver transplant? Can be $50,000.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the point.
You have MS-13, who are the coyotes. Mm-hmm. And when you hear about these big busts down, like where I'm at, you would hear about them on Ajo. AJO, Ajo Highway.
Yeah.
They've had so many big record busts up here over the summer, 163 people, 180 people, 200 people. And a lot of the children that they find with these big groups are unaccompanied children, meaning they're not there with anybody. There's no family there with them at all.
Scary.
Now, I believe that it's the unaccompanied children that are getting sold into the sex trafficking, and that are being harvested on the trails along the way for their organs by MS-13.
Wow.
And there's a lot of evidence out there to support that theory.
Yeah.
But I believe that they are harvesting organs from these unaccompanied minors. And that's what you really have to pay attention to when you see these groups that are being busted, is you have to pay attention to how many unaccompanied minors there were in the group.
Exactly.
Because when you think about it, why would you just send your kid thousands and thousands of miles away with strangers?
No, this is not make no sense. They've been sold.
It's a dangerous journey.
They sold the child.
Children,
they sold them.
Yes, they sold their children to the coyotes. And it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible when you're down here and you're seeing it and you're looking at all this evidence. I mean, and it's literally right over the road. We just found a whole bunch of stuff the other day. I mean, literally as soon as they got over the fence, they started doing dirty deeds.
Like what?
So
give us more details, because sometimes people think this is just some sort of something surreal happening somewhere that doesn't. This is real. By the way, give us also your video YouTube channel, because all the things you say, you spend a lot of time energy, effort, and risk, because to put out this video out there, I don't even know any type of mainstream media has the courage, and they have the resources, but they don't have the political courage and also the physical courage to do that in a regular way like you do it. So let's give some promotion here to your channel so people can understand this is real. It's not just me and you talking on the radio just because we have nothing better to do. How people can watch your evidence, please.
Well, you could find me on youtube.com/C as in Charlie /Dark Skywatcher 74. And I just released a mini documentary. It's about 40 minutes long. It's called 212 Hours on the Border, Rape Trees, the Reality of the Migrant Journey. It shows you a lot, and it really lets you know what we're dealing with down here, especially on an emotional level, because there's been a few times during filming down here where I've literally had to turn off the camera because at 45 years old and everything that I've seen in my lifetime, I've had to just stop and break down and cry for a minute. So
wow,
it's pretty rough.
Wow. Listen, and also it's not just rough emotionally. I truly believe that you guys, you and all the other volunteers that they're doing this, I mean, they pretty much told you already that you better watch it. This is not dealing with just somebody, crossing, doing some sort of a pirate job with cigarettes. This is a real multi-million dollars industry that you are somehow interfering with. And with these people, you don't mess very much. I mean, tell me, did they try to give you messages? Did they try to say, watch it? Did they try to shoot at you? I mean, that's normally, remember when I was in 2005, even for a few days down on the borders with the first Minuteman effort, I remember there were MS-13 in the news, tell us that they were going to chop our head. That's pretty much was the, right. What type of things?
There's some theories going on around some of the people here that the FBI is involved, and I know the FBI is involved because they've called me into their office and I've sat down and talked to them face to face.
Wow.
But a lot of the theories right now are that a lot of these hate groups that are out there are being funded by the FBI as a deterrent against what Veterans on Patrol is doing down here, because the leader of the group, Louis Arthur, he's tied this in because this all started at the Cemex plant over in Tucson. So he's got this tied in with Clinton's, Soros, Rothschild. You have Jonathan Rothschild as the mayor of Tucson.
Really? I didn't know that. Wow, I missed that. Are you kidding me? One of the Rothschild family is mayor of Tucson?
When you look into the Cemex story of the child sex trafficking camp that they found in June, I believe it was, May or June of this year, which is what sent them on this quest. You have Clinton and Soros, which are holders into Cemex, and there's just a whole long line of dirty things that I keep bringing up and finding that connect Cemex, and not just the Cemex in Tucson, but multiple Cemexes. It seems that they have these along major trafficking routes.
And let's talk about Cemex for people who don't know. What is Cemex?
Cemex is a cement plant.
Mm-hmm.
It's Mexican-owned. I believe they paid a 30-year lease up front in full, and
wow.
They don't use the property at all. Now, they did. Veterans on Patrol was out looking for homeless veterans to bring off of the streets and into their shelter, and they came across a camp, and it was unlike any homeless camp that they'd ever seen before, to the point where they started calling people in.
Wow.
And these experts came in, like Craig Sawyer. He's ex-Navy SEAL, I believe. He came in and he said everything. He confirmed everything that they were thinking. This is definitely a child sex trafficking camp. This is definitely a rape tree, the way that these things are. My people on the border, they said, hey, that's the only thing it could be. It's exactly what it is. They had hair dyes and things like that in the camp. They had an underground cell. It was kind of like a water tank type of deal,
mm-hmm.
where the entrance of it was only big enough for a child to fit through. And those aren't my words. Those aren't Lewis's words. These are the words from the Navy SEAL, who was the expert in these things, who came in and said all of these things. And that brings me to the point of the child trafficking. And child trafficking, it doesn't just come from the Mexico side of the border. It goes from the United States into Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I had a talk and confrontation with Border Patrol unit last week, which I just released that footage, all of their faces are blurred for their safety,
Mm-hmm.
but they confirmed a lot of points because the Cemex camp was brought up. And after describing it and everything that they found and saw to the Border Patrol agent, he looked at them square in the face and he didn't skip a beat. He said, I guarantee you without a doubt that camp was ran by a United States citizen.
Wow.
So they understand what's going on. And
any type
like
of involvement, did you try to, not you, but the group, the volunteer group of veterans, did they try to call the law enforcement, the local sheriff, say, we have here maybe a scene of a crime? I'm just doing these questions because I have to. I already watched some of your information, but what happened?
Well, the Tucson police weren't very forthcoming. They didn't really want to conduct any type of investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I know the FBI was called out to come down and do some type of an investigation. Nobody really did. It was like they just wanted to sweep it right underneath the rug. Now, I know last month, Veterans on Patrol took a carload of evidence that they found over at that camp, and they took it right to the FBI office in Tucson, and they dumped it off right to them because they refused to investigate the claims that are being made there. And as far as I can see, all the claims are legitimate claims. I don't understand why there's no investigation other than the fact that they're trying to hinder the investigation into that because it's going to uncover something that nobody really wants out there. And that brings me back to the Clintons, Soros, Rothschild, all these different people that are mixed up in this, and these are the same people that are mixed up in the Nixium scandal, and so it all comes back to that.
Any local news involved? This, after all, could be a very good type of a topic for local news, local newspaper, local radio station.
Well, I believe K-Gun 9 ran the story initially, but a few days later, like I said, all of the expert witnesses and investigators that had came down and looked at the scene all turned and flipped their story. There's some theories out there, some rumors out there that Sawyer was paid $100,000 to flip his story.
Wow. That's a big paycheck just to flip a burger like that. Wow. I wonder who can afford that type of stuff. By the way, we're just talking, I don't know the proof, and you say, allegedly say you think, but that would be kind of shocking, but not really. People get tempted.
Right.
I don't know the story, but you never know. Who knows? I wish to have him on the show. Is this guy
I can't tell you.
Is around?
I can tell you that Craig Sawyer did go to a Cemex property a few months later and met with some of their people. Why? I have no idea. There's absolutely no reason in the world why he should have been doing that, but yet he was after flipping his story. So the conspiracies are just building, and the volcano is going to explode. At one point, it's going to erupt.
Is he on Facebook? I think he's on Facebook. Sawyer, right? How do you spell him? How do you spell his name?
Craig Sawyer, I believe it's Craig. His last name's Sawyer, Sawyyer.
I think I saw him on Facebook during the time of this first part of the breaking the news. I almost like to talk to him. I would love to have him on the show. Did you talk to him, I guess, right, originally at the time? Did you?
No, I wasn't able to talk to him, but I do have plenty of his interviews that he did before he flipped his story where, he came out on the John B. Wells show, if you know who John B. Wells is.
No, but that's okay. I will find it. Tell me.
He went out on his show and he did like an hour-long segment, and he basically confirmed everything that Veterans on Patrol was saying. And this was the last interview he did, I believe, right before he flipped his story. But up until the point that he flipped, he had been out and done interviews all over the place promoting that this was a child sex trafficking camp and it can only be one thing going on down there. So,
this is disturbing.
I don't know where it's going to end up.
Disturbing. I wish, as I said, I'm here. I'm not there. I don't know the whole story. All I know that I watch your videos and I saw even just watching the videos and looking at the evidence that you can see through the videos, yeah, it would be nice if that we had some sort of an independent agency, like it's supposed to be our, bureau, FBI or whatever, even the police of the area, to do a thrill investigation with some scientific evidence. But right now, the scary thing that just the fact that they want to ignore that gives me enough fuel to think that they try to cover up something, because everybody can go to your YouTube channel, start to look at the things that you can see there, and there is something that definitely disturbing. I mean, the fact that is a fact. Children without any type of, parents, unaccompanied, they can come crossing the Mexico part and somehow coming here, something must come to your mind. Who is the degenerate parent that will let this happen? And why they're coming here without any parent or any guardian? What's going to happen to the children? Think about it. You don't need to be a scientist. This is something that is pretty much normal thinking. So the best case scenario, these children, they're going to be used as slaves. And from there, we know what type of slaves. Could be sex slaves, could be labor slaves. And as I said, the idea of organ transplant, it is a reality. In China, there is already a market. That's why the executions now, people, they get killed in a way that there is a special mobile RV van. So when you get killed on the spot as political dissident, this is in the news, by the way, a few years ago, they kill you and they be sure that they get your organs fresh and ready to be sold to the highest bidder. That's in China. Imagine now, we can do it. They are doing it closer. They don't even need to do the shipping FedEx of the fresh organs. They're going to get them fresh directly from the borders. And I'm not playing this dumb. I'm not trying to make sensationalism. The reality of crazy people out there, that they enjoy crazy rituals. We may not believe them, but they believe into that. They believe that, praying to evil is a good thing. And more important, they believe that human flesh is a good thing. More and more you can see these different actors and singers and rock stars claiming that it's a great thing. We had evidence. There is a club in Los Angeles. It's a very exclusive restaurant, the Cannibal Club. There is a website. You can see exactly their menu. They can see what they cook. It's human flesh. And they really take pride to say, we want to be sure that you know as a consumer that our best meat will be served to you and it's fresh and young. Okay, and come from healthy bodies. Right. So where do you get this stuff? This is from their website. Seriously, I'm always wondering where they can get the source of meat. I mean, if somebody must be young and fresh and healthy, for sure, as I said, this is not like a dead body from some mortician, okay? So it must come fresh. And what is the closest market you can get? What is the source of your cattle? Straight from the border. I really, truly believe in that. I truly believe that's why it is beyond comprehension. I understand many people don't want to touch this stuff. It's too cruel. It's too gruel. I mean, I don't know if I'm even talking right English now. I'm getting mad. But the point is real. And sad thing is...
I got to look into that.
I know. Seriously, the Cannibal Club. By the way, you can see the menu. And by the way, you can go there. You must go by invitation. And there are several actors that like one of the famous latest... on the news, or mainstream news, was this famous singer that she's kind of Illuminati now. She's a white chick. I forgot her name. I'm not really following. But anyway, she said, by the way, flesh meat is something that we need to rediscover. It's something is being very, almost demonized by the, whatever, Judeo Christian culture or whatever. The point, they really make a point. They eat human flesh. So I will get a website while we're talking right now, just to give you an idea. But this is a reality. I believe there is a connection. So, but the point is, regardless, the fact that any type of common mind would understand if you see children by the buses being dumped from southern border into the U.S., what's going to happen to the children? That's the question. So who is behind? So now government is not doing enough, because I think there is a part of the government is controlled and they are paid off. I believe the level, the bottom of these border patrol agents, they're decent people, but as you said, they're under power, and guess what? They got killed too. I'm sure they got death threats too. What do you think?
Oh, yes. These agents, I was talking to an agent just the other day, and he was telling me how people have followed him home. A lot of these agents are very weary about me being down here with the camera, because most people will come down and just take video or pictures and blast these guys all over the place. But I'm very respectful of the job that they do and the dangers that they're in. So anytime I have an encounter with Border Patrol, I blur not only their face but their upper body, so none of their name tags, rank, anything like that will be visible, because it is a dangerous job. Right here on the border, you are dealing with the cartel, not just across the fence, but on this side of the fence as well. It's the Sinaloa cartel that's in this area. And they just had a shootout yesterday between Mexican police officers and the drug trafficking organizations just on the other side of the fence here.
Wow.
And I believe 19 were killed. So the area that we're in right now, everybody is really stressed out, all the Border Patrol agents, because they know that this is going to flood right over the gate, because they're bringing their drugs right through here as well as the humans.
You know what really surprised me? You know, we've been spending billions of dollars in the last years defending and be sure that borders of North Korea and South Korea, they are sealed. Not even a rat could go through the freaking border, okay? We were sealing the borders with Iraq and the surrounding countries. We've been taking care of the borders of Germany when it was the Cold War. I mean, all this, and we cannot defend our basic borders, I mean, in our country. There is, for me, it is not even it's a conspiracy, it's a fact.
It's by design.
By design. Because, you know, if you stop a billions, $1 trillion industry between drugs and human trafficking, all you have to do is pay enough Congress. They say keep the border open. There is no political will because they paid off. That's my personal opinion, but I really believe it. Now, what do you think about President Trump? You think it means well trying to create this wall? And what do you think? Do you support the idea of the wall?
I do support the idea of the wall because if you look at a lot of my videos, I'm fairly certain about 95% of America doesn't know what the real wall looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You see it on mainstream where they show you the ports of entry and you have heavy security and you have a nice 30 or 40 foot fence, you know, a nice looking wall right in that area, but you go 2 miles down the road and it drops from a 30 foot wall that nobody can pass through to a 4 foot fence line.
Yeah.
Now these are just posts that are about 6 feet apart. Every 6 feet you have a post, and then you have one crossbar going across.
Yeah.
You can just walk right underneath it. That's all you got to do. Walk right underneath it from Mexico right into America. A baby can crawl right across the border with no problem.
It's an illusion. It's an illusion, and you're right. Unless you go down there, you have no idea. You think you're living in the safest place of the world. But the only way we are safe, because so far nothing happened. But tomorrow, beside the trafficking of drugs or human trafficking, tomorrow could be maybe somebody with a backpack loading up like maybe a mini nuke. Why not? I mean, the sky is the limit.
It's funny that you say that because they just got 100 ISIS.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to come in with this large group of 4,000, and about 7 or 8 days ago, we came across a group that we were tracking from a mountaintop up here, and by the time we were able to climb down the mountain, get into our vehicle, and actually get over to that location to try and intercept, Border Patrol had gotten there. They had set off their ground sensors. But this was a group of 50, and it was intermingled with a bunch of Muslims.
Wow.
There was women in full-face burqas, Muslim men there, and we had a Marine that was there who did 2 tours over there in the Middle East. So, I mean, I think he knows what he's talking about when he tells me that these were definitely Muslims.
Well, this is exactly the point. It didn't just happen today. It's been going on. It's like a silent invasion that has been going on at least the last 15 years. For what I know, we could have already thousands of infiltrators, of special ops troops ready to completely go in action at any time. I mean, they could be already been settling all over the states. And when the time comes, we already been invaded. That's a fact. It happened, by the way, in Norway when the Germans during World War II, 6 months, 8 months before they invaded, they were already sent the Germans, and they were there in, regular civilian clothes. And when the D-Day came for the Germans, all they had to do is do their duty. In their case was take over the very important points of the country, communication and transportation, everything else, create some drama, and bang, they lost the war before even fighting it. And I believe that's what we are facing here, especially now when you think about it, the complete blackmail. What if we already have maybe 20 or 30 mini nukes already positioned in strategic positions around the states? We have no idea. Seriously. I mean, why not? It's possible.
Very possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
Very possible.
One book I would like two things I want to say. First of all, if you want to take a look at the website of this Cannibal Club, it's cannibalclub.org. .org. And by the way, after we've been talking the last few months about that, not just me, but also on the internet, of course, there've been now different, Snoop's article, this is not real, it's fake. Go check it out. They try to cover up, but the website is still there, and you can see there anything, everything. By the way, you can also see what type of stars they perform. There is this Galas singer, named is Galas, from Greece. She's a Satanist, and she performs there Saturday night, and she does these little satanic, melodies, whatever, the little songs. It's really sick. Seriously, this is beyond, differences of religion or belief. This is completely sick, beyond my stomach. But talking about, one thing I would like to invite you to find the book. It's called The Silent Invasion by Mr. Gulbranson. He was an informative, a real reporter like yourself, independent reporter. He spent a few years down in the border, early 2001 and 2002, and he proved that there was a traffic of military personnel that was not Mexican. It was, according to his research, Chinese, Oriental, and also, let's say, it could be Russians. And they were stationed there like different fields, different type of camps just outside the borders of the U.S. And they were testing every time, infiltrating. And by the way, in the Fox News, there was also an episode that in the news they reported that 2 border patrols, they were shot by Chinese-looking people in black uniform in 2002 or so. And the research that Mr. Gulbranson did, by the way, was amazing. So much that they tried to shut him up. He was also on Alex Jones, and he was ready. The last interview of him around was on Alex Jones when he was ready to release the second part of the book. The second part of the book never made it. And his first book, by the way, it's almost impossible to find on Amazon. If you find it, The Silent Invasion, probably is worth $500. Did you ever heard about him?
No, I haven't.
Please.
I'm going to definitely look into him, though.
Try to get his book, because a lot of things that you're doing down there, that you're discovering, this man, he went through the same, type of work. He didn't have a video camera. He was a reporter, but he did a lot of things that he discovered. And the local corruption also of the higher ranks of the Border Patrol. The good people at the lower ranks, they were being shut up. And by the way, somebody died in a very mysterious circumstances in the book. This is not a novel, it's a real case. So anyway, this is serious business. This is very serious. And I said, none of my business, but why did you have, the decision to do this? I mean, I know you got family, you got things going on. I mean, you got bills to pay too. I mean, you spend there what? Pretty much most of your time now there. Do you ever come back?
I'm actually living on the border with these guys. They live in a military style in FOBs, those forward operating bases that are set up all along the border. And I'm just out here living the story alongside these guys. So how long have you been there so far?
5 months solid.
Wow. I mean, that's, don't get me wrong, none of my business, but how do you pay your bills, man? Because 5 months like that, it's pretty tough. It's, you can get some YouTube, views and maybe some YouTube checks, but I don't think that's enough. I mean, does it help you? I mean, how people can help you? How do you get your life going?
Well, I do have a Patreon page for viewer support that I just started up. I mean, you know how YouTube works, and I basically that usually does pay my bills and whatnot. But we do always accept any type of contributions or support, and it goes 100% towards what I'm doing for gas or equipment replacement.
Also, your life. I mean, you got to live, you got to eat, you got a car. I mean, this is amazing. As I said, professionally, I don't know anybody that would do that. And by the way, I like to meet also maybe next couple of times when you can give me some updates. One of your, friends there that they are doing this. I mean, are they retired military people, I guess? I mean, most of them, they are former military and retired, I guess, right?
Yes, all ex-combat veterans.
Yeah. Well, this is also for them, it's tough because, unless they have no family at all, I mean, this is a big burden, I mean, spend most of the time in this very hostile environment with no paycheck and at the same time, no benefits. The only benefit that you're going to get shot, probably. I mean, meanwhile, your family say, well, who is that? I mean, this is tough, man, I was telling you. But what is the plan for tomorrow?
It's just the passion inside people that drives them to do it. It's like you said, volunteers.
No, I understand, and this is great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wish people would do an inch of what you're doing. If every one of us would do an inch, even just getting involved with our congressmen, say, stop playing games. Yeah, we need the border, so we don't need to think that we're going to get invaded. And more important, we don't have all this human trafficking going like this, so easy. All they need to do is just dump him and give him a kick and cross the border. That's all you need to do now. When you put a wall, maybe not impenetrable, but guess what? You're right to have a door at your home, or you want to just have, open for all, no key. I mean, it would make a great deterrent to have a structure that we can at least control the traffic here. Now, what do you think about what's going to happen with this 4,000, caravan from Honduras? You think Trump is going to have the political will to stop it, or it's going to cave in maybe with some political game? What do you think?
I think Trump's going to stand his ground on this one, because what they're doing is a political move, and they're trying to make a statement, so therefore Trump's going to have to answer that statement, and his answer is going to determine on whether or not something like this happens again in the very near future. So I think Trump is going to stand his ground on this, because if he doesn't, then we're just going to keep on getting influxes like that left and right.
So far, I tell you, I don't agree with everything he does, but on this one, the fact that at least he's saying the right things, and something that no other administration would have done. I mean, 8 years with Obama, they would probably already just prepare the bedroom for these people, okay? I mean, they don't want borders. This is beyond just, some sort of an amnesty. The idea that to create a global government, to create a new world order, you must start to brainwash people that borders don't exist. And why I'm so passionate about the idea that we must have borders as a sovereign nation. Because if we have no borders, we are no more America. We're going to just become now another part of total, let's say, global fascism. If I have no more a country, I'm going to be part of what? A new form of government, that's what they want. It's called the New World Order. There is no Bill of Rights, there is no U.S. Constitution. And for sure, they can change all that when they destroy the borders. You put 30, 40 million people, they have no idea what is about freedom. They come from oppressive government, and all they want is a free piece of bread and maybe some benefits. They would vote the devil in office for that. How we destroy the country from within. And that's pretty much their goal. They need to destroy America's sovereignty to destroy America. So I'm very strong about that. I hope Trump is going to be enough, because he's just a man. Even he has the best intention. I believe, enemies are from both sides of the aisle. I mean, look at the McCains and look at the other Democrats. It's just from everywhere. I'm amazed he's still alive, honestly. Listen, I want to give you the floor. Anything that we didn't touch, you got the floor.
No, I mean, I think we've pretty much covered everything that I can actually talk about right now. There's a lot of things I want to say, but it's operational security. I kind of have to be quiet here for another week or two.
All right, Lisa, looking forward to watching your videos. And if you have any update in the future, give me a call. Say again, please, do you have a website also beside the YouTube, or you got just straight to YouTube?
I just have my YouTube channel and then my Patreon page, and that is patreon.com/DarkSkywatcher74.
Perfect. Listen, my best to you and your buddies there. Good luck and be safe, okay?
Thank you so much, Luca.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. I'll talk to you later, okay? I'm going to hang up now. I'm going to finish the show. Thank you, Paul.
All right.
That was paul-flores from somewhere down close to Yuma, Arizona. This is serious, guys. Everything I talk about here is serious. Even last Sunday when we had, the conversation with the Flat Earth, the lady, the former U.S. Army veteran. I believe that, first of all, any topic is welcome here. I'm not here to say yes or no. I want always to learn. And I believe that Flat Earth, there is a lot of questions that we don't have the right answers. I'm not even saying it's true. But I believe also that it's not true, the official version that we've been given. A lot of things don't add up. But this is not the topic today. The topic now is something that I believe we should be all very concerned. Differently from the Flat Earth that you may say, believe it or not, that's your personal opinion at this point. I don't care. This is talking about evil in full action. Not just the sovereignty of our country compromised. They want to destroy America in every way. They want to destroy the concept of nation. They want to destroy our borders. But now also look, all these innocent children. Yes, there is a lot of illegal aliens. There is a lot of criminals. By the way, for me, everybody who crosses the bridge, the fence, without the right type of paperwork or visa, you're a criminal. You don't need to be just a drug dealer. You are trespassing in a sovereign nation without following the laws. So you're breaking the laws, period. But now when I talk about children have no really, especially when they have no parents around, they have no control. Children, they are used. They've been abused. There is no normal parent who would put a child in a bus or put it on the walk or this trail of pain and misery and torture, really, to walk in the desert for days without food, maybe with a little water, and knowing that is at the prey, at the mercy of people that you don't know, and you know that they're going to get abused. That's a fact. So the fact these children, at this point, we know that they're just victims. That's a fact. Regardless, how you feel about immigration, how I feel. I'm very strong for the borders. But the children, without anybody there, their parents, they're going to be used as slaves, as sex slaves, as human trafficking. And as I said, we have proof and evidence now that there's much more than just sex slaves. Organ transplant, organ donors pay a lot of money. I mean, people who want the organs, there's a big black market out there. If you cannot wait 5 years for a liver or for a heart, if you got money, you can get it overnight. And think about these poor little children. So the point is the government still want to be in denial. That part of the government doesn't want to talk about it because people get corrupted. It's a big, big business. And all I can do, I'm just a little guy. Sometimes I say, what am I doing here? I just have a little local radio show. Yeah, the internet really helps, but still, I'm nobody. All I can say, though, bring this message, get the awareness, watch the videos of Paul-Flores, start to get involved. Today it's happening to them, these children. Tomorrow could happen to your children. You never know. So the point is, we got to do something. The first thing I would do, start to call your congressman, whatever useless it is. You know what, congressman? We have human trafficking problem in the south of our border. We better try to, we're supposed to be the most powerful nation of the world. Supposedly we're sending people to Mars pretty soon. Yeah, I believe it. Being sarcastic. But guess what? We cannot even stop a bunch of human traffickers on our southern borders with all this technology, all these resources. It's an insult because there is no will. That's why. So that's what we should do, my humble opinion. Besides that, a lot of information. Next Sunday I'm going to have a lot of different type of information. I try to diversify, by the way. It's every Sunday is different now. I want to talk about something. First of all, thank you for listening. Thank you for, even if you don't agree with me, to be there. Because, as I said, I have the presumption that I'm always right. And I don't even want to be right. And more important, I don't want you to agree always with you or you agree with me. That's not the point of the show. Everybody's welcome on the show. If you have a respectful conversation, if you're a civil person, I welcome you, even if you disagree. All I think I don't agree is if you're violent and if you start to call people names, especially for no reason. Like, for example, I had the lady last Sunday about the Flat Earth. She brings some facts, and people on Facebook, some people, I had to block them, they don't respond to facts with facts. No, they just call names. What's your problem? Seriously, what is your problem? But regardless, I need your help. As I said, first of all, support the station. K-Talks is being great. We can talk about things here that I don't know any other station, at least commercial station will allow it. Now, also, me and myself, it takes me time, energy. I have a lot of things I do, and Time means also a way to pay bills. I don't use my time for something else. So I appreciate your help. If you want to go to www.zanna.us, you can see what I do. You can go to download any of my songs on Amazon, amazon.com. You can see, put my name, Gianluca Zanna. There are more than 100 songs, just 99 cents. That would make a difference, really. That you can buy my coffee. Go to www.zannacoffee.com. If you are here in Kingman area, guess what? We do different things. We have a self-defense training center. I have a self-defense training center. It's called Kingman Force on Force. You can stop by. Check it out. Great classes, by the way. We got great classes. Empty hand self-defense classes. Also children classes. Because I tell you, man, what is happening here right now, there is a global awakening of what's happening. This child trafficking is not just a Mexican side of the border problem. It's happening everywhere. Children are missing everywhere. I may have my own theory that is really beyond what I told you so far. And I don't want to tell you now. I'll tell you probably next time. But I think there is something so sinister. That's why there are more children missing than we know. And there is something behind that is so dark that I hope to be wrong. Now, I appreciate you. Please stay in touch. And as I said, if you have any questions, if you want to be on the show, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Shoot me an email, and I will be happy to have you on, okay? Talk to you, God willing, next Sunday. Ciao.
Wake up.
Envision your decision. 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 Engage. Resist. Persist.